Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you're having a wonderful day like always. I'm continuing with my Whitney Houston discography journey, and we are in the year 1998 when she released her fourth studio album called My Love Is Your Love. Now, this is her first studio album in 8 years, following I'm Your Baby Tonight in 1990. But during that time, she did release 2 soundtrack albums called The Bodyguard and Waiting to Exhale. She actually released a third soundtrack album called The Preacher's Wife, and I listened to all 3 of those albums already on my Whitney Houston discography journey. So I am quite excited that we are back to her studio albums after listening to all those soundtrack albums. And looking at the track list, there are 13 tracks. The only tracks I recall hearing is track number 1, It's Not Right, But It's Okay. And also track number 4, When You Believe. Now, when I was going on my Mariah Carey discography journey, I listened to When You Believe, her collaboration with Mariah Carey. The album is also 1 hour and 1 minute, so let's get into it with track number 1. It's Not Right, But It's Okay.
Friday night, you and your boys went out to eat. Then 4 of you were really cheap. Yeah. It's not right, but it's okay. I'd rather be alone than unhappy. Think about it. Take some more. They're gonna get go. It turns out it's not right, but it's okay. I'm gonna make it anywhere. My best to take all that to me. It's not right, but it's okay.
Okay, and that was track number 1, It's Not Right, But It's Okay. I always loved this song. It's always been one of my favorite Whitney Houston songs. And just from reading the lyrics, she seems to be in this relationship, and the guy she is in a relationship with is perhaps cheating on her. Friday night, you and your boys went out to eat, then they hung out, but you came home around 3. If 6 of y'all went out, then 4 of you were really cheap because only 2 of you had dinner. I found your credit card receipt. So now she's telling this guy to pack his bags up and leave. Don't you dare come running back to me. Close the door behind you. Leave your key. I'd rather be alone than unhappy. I am curious to know if the story being told in this song actually happened to Whitney. Now, at the time, she was married to a Bobby Brown. They got married in 1992, but they got divorced in 2007. I don't really know too much about Whitney Houston's personal life and her marriage to Bobby Brown. It does say the couple's drug abuse and domestic disputes made them tabloid fodder. And in 1993, they did have a daughter named Bobby Christina Brown. So now let's move on to track number 2, Heartbreak Hotel, featuring Faith Evans and Kelly Price.
Hotel, this is a heartbreak hotel. Instead, you took your time. You didn't think to call me. Thought that you were someone who would do me right. But you didn't cry and made a fool of me, baby. All I really wanted was some of your time. You did to me. Why'd you do it? Can't take what you did to me.
Okay, and that was track number 2, A Heartbreak Hotel, featuring Faith Evans and Kelly Price. I really like this song. I wonder if it was a single or not. This was the second single off the album, and the third single was It's Not Right, But It's Okay. The first single was When You Believe, and she also released My Love Is Your Love, and I Learned From the Best as the other singles. We are 2 tracks into the album, and there is already a theme of infidelity and heartbreak. Look what you did to me. It's all I really wanted, baby. I thought you were someone who would do me right until you played with my emotions and you made me cry. And everything that you said was a lie. Don't lie to me. Tell me what it is and I will be alright. And I am curious to know if these songs are about her marriage to a Bobby Brown or not. What I also love about this album so far is that it's definitely more R&B sounding than her prior albums. A lot of her prior albums were very pop sounding. This is straightforward R&B, hip hop, and I'm here for it. I'm really enjoying it. So now let's move on to track number 3, My Love Is Your Love.
And I'm standing on the front line. And I feel like I wanna go home. Your love is my love. My love is your love. And it would take an eternity to break us. And it seems the wrong star couldn't hold us. And no matter how we get on, your love is my love. And my love is your love.
Okay, and that was track number 3, My Love Is Your Love. Yes, I'm loving this album so far. Is this going to be one of my favorite Whitney Houston albums ever? I think it might be. And it looks like this song was also co-written by Wyclef Jean, which is really cool. I am reading here that this album, My Love Is Your Love, is regarded as one of her best releases. And it did receive 6 nominations, 6 Grammy Award nominations in 2000, including Best R&B Album and Best R&B Song twice. She did win the Grammy for Best Female R&B Vocal Performance for It's Not Right But It's Okay, giving her 6th and final Grammy Awards. So the Grammy she won for this song, It's Not Right But It's Okay, Best Female R&B Vocal Performance, was her final Grammy Award. I am curious to know how many times Whitney Houston was nominated for a Grammy, and it says that she was nominated 25 times and she won 6 Grammys. So now let's move on to track number 4, When You Believe.
Now I'm standing here. It's hard to get. There's hope is very near. It's hard when you believe.
Okay, and that was track number 4, When You Believe, with Mariah Carey, and this is a very beautiful and touching song. I don't know if this is the same version I listened to when I went on my Mariah Carey discography journey. I don't recall being the biggest fan of this song when I first heard it on my Mariah Carey discography journey, but I like it now, so I don't know if it's because it's a different version of the song, or I don't know, maybe it's grown on me. And this song is from the 1998 musical animated film The Prince of Egypt, which I haven't seen yet. This song is a classic Whitney Houston, a classic Mariah Carey ballad. However, I will say the lyrics are a little, I don't know, it does sound like a song that would be attached to an animated film, like a Disney film. The Prince of Egypt isn't a Disney film, it's from DreamWorks, but you get what I mean. It has those motivational lyrics: when you believe, you can do anything, you will when you believe. So the song itself is really sweet. We were moving mountains long before we knew we could. So now we will move on to track number 5, If I Told You That.
Now, child.
And if I told you that. Wow, this was catchy as hell. I really liked it. Track number 5, If I Told You That. I'm a little disappointed this wasn't a single. I feel like it should have been. I loved the piano in this song. That was one of my favorite parts. I really am in love with this album so far. It's really good. So now let's move on to track number 6, In My Business, featuring Missy, Misdemeanor, Elliott.
All about some chickens, don't Everybody's hoes, they don't even like me. Too many girls, they dislike me. Tell me why these hoes, they don't even like me. Why they all in love is? They all in love is. But my mind. They all in love is. They all up in love is.
Okay, that was track number 6, In My Business. This was another great song. I always enjoy hearing Missy Elliott on a featured song. And she's saying, I get so many people telling me they've seen you up in the mall. Are they mistaken? All up on some chick as though I don't exist. What is this? Why they all in my business? And then she also goes on to say, they just keep warning me. Should I believe it? They say I don't need it. Don't they know I made up my mind? They say we won't last, and they're predicting that's over. Too many girls, they dislike me. Since I got you, they want to fight me. Cause I'm the chick walking around with the ring. Tell me why these hoes, they don't even like me. So it looks like there are people in Whitney Houston's life, perhaps close friends, family members, perhaps even the media, that are alluding to Bobby Brown's infidelity. This goes back to track number 1, It's Not Right But It's Okay, and track number 2, Heartbreak Hotel. And as to whether Bobby Brown was unfaithful to Whitney, I don't know. I don't know if it's public knowledge that he was unfaithful. It's definitely something I have to look into and research. Maybe you guys can let me know in the comments. But it looks like Whitney is saying that these girls are just jealous. They just dislike me. Since I got you, they want to fight me. And they're jealous that she is walking around with the ring. They're jealous that she's married and has a man. I don't know, maybe Whitney chose to ignore these allegations and she decided to put on her rose-colored glasses and just pretend everything was okay, and turned a blind eye to what was actually happening. And these are just assumptions of mine. I have no idea what happened in Whitney Houston's marriage to Bobby Brown. These are just things I'm picking up on as I'm reading the lyrics and trying to interpret them the best I can. But it does seem like these people are warning her about this guy, perhaps Bobby Brown. And she's saying that they're just jealous. They're just jealous hoes. They're jealous bitches. I have a ring and they're just hating on me. And that's why they're all up in her business. So now let's move on to track number 7, I Learned From the Best.
Did you really think that I would really take you back? I learned from you. I remember cold nights. Tears I thought would never dry. And so you know the way it feels. And so you know the way it feels. I learned from you.
Okay, and that was track number 7, I Learned From the Best. I adore this song. I loved the production. Wow, definitely one of my favorites so far. 7 tracks in, and I feel like all of these songs, all of these tracks could have been a single. I don't know if I'm overreacting to how much I love this album, but I'm really enjoying it. I am a little disappointed though, because when I go on her Apple Music page, it doesn't list this album as one of her essential albums. It lists Whitney, her 1987 album, and her debut album from 1985 as essential albums, which I can see why. Those are great albums, but I definitely feel like this should also be an essential Whitney Houston album because it's really good. So now let's move on to track number 8, Oh Yes.
Say yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. You were so masculine. The way I felt your chest. You're the one that no other man can face me 'cause you're in my heart, I'm in your heart, every minute, baby. I say yeah, 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 yeah.
Alrighty, that was track number 8, Oh Yes, and this was a great romantic, sexy song, I will say. The day you held me in your arms, I still smell the scent of you on my dress. You were so masculine the way I felt your chest up next to mine. Felt you in my heart. Now I breathe love. You are so amazing. I will say though, this song did drag on for a little longer than it probably should have. It was almost 7 minutes. It definitely isn't as hot and steamy as some of Janet Jackson's sexier songs. I mean, if you've listened to Janet Jackson's discography, you will know she has some pretty sexually explicit songs. This was nowhere near that, but it was still a romantic, hot, steamy song. So now let's move on to track number 9, Get It Back.
When the time for me was good enough, I definitely had to compete with your cruel schemes. Remember how it was, and I know that's for a fact. We were both so deep in love, if we could just get it back. I don't need to now. Nothing would change for you and me, but we could just get it back. Get it back.
Okay, and that was track number 9, Get It Back. I don't have much to say about this song. I didn't really care for it. It's probably my least favorite song on the album so far. I just wasn't really into it. It does fit in with the rest of the album. It has the same aesthetic as all the other tracks, and the production was really nice, but I don't know, I didn't really care for it. So we will now move on to track number 10, Until You Come Back.
Lost my when you walked out the door. Again, until you come back to my arms. Back to my
Okay, and that was track number 10, Until You Come Back. The production on this song was really big, and she sounded great, those vocals. This is a classic Whitney Houston ballad. It reminds me of a song she would have released back in the day, prior to 1998. But I'm gonna say it, this was another song I just couldn't get into. I really did try getting into the song, but I just couldn't. To me, the song just wasn't that memorable, just like track number 9, Get It Back. This is probably another one of my least favorites. I like the sound of the song, it was very grand, and her voice was great, but Whitney Houston sounds great in most of her songs, so irregardless, it's still probably one of my least favorites. So we will now move on to track number 11, I Bow Out.
Tired of playing this game, and I won't play it no more. This time I won't play this game. I made a vow to make a change, and I bow out. I won't be hanging around, baby. Now watch me say goodbye and walk right out of your life.
Okay, and that was track number 11, I Bow Out. I'm kind of struggling with this second half of the album. This was another song that I couldn't really get into. I mean, these songs, these last 3 tracks definitely pale in comparison to the first half. I really enjoyed the first 8 tracks. They were really good, and it started to I don't want to say fall apart, but it started to lose my interest at about track number 9, Get It Back, and then Until You Come Back, and now I Bow Out. I'm just slowly losing interest in this album now, and I don't want that to happen because I loved the first half. I don't know, maybe I have to listen to these last 3 songs a few more times to really appreciate them. But we do have 2 tracks left. Let's move on to track number 12, You'll Never Stand Alone.
And you can't see past the shadows. You never stand alone. I'll be standing by. I'll keep you from the cold. In these arms of mine, you'll never stand alone. You'll never stand alone. See, I'll be standing by. You'll be too strong when you can't find your strength in the side.
Okay, and that was track number 12, You'll Never Stand Alone. I like this song. I really liked the melody. I thought it was really beautiful. This is another classic sounding Whitney Houston ballad. I will say I do enjoy this track more than I did the last 3 tracks I listened to. So we have come to the end of the album. Ladies and gentlemen, track number 13, I Was Made to Love Him. And that was I Was Made to Love Him. I really enjoyed this song. I loved the harmonica and the gospel, and this was a great way to wrap up the album. This song definitely redeemed the second half of the album, in my opinion. This is another song where I feel like she might be singing about her husband, Bobby Brown. I was made to love him, worship and adore him, all through thick and thin. Our love just won't end, but I love my baby. She also says here, I knew I loved him even then. You know, some disapproved it. They even boo-hooed it. But I told them time and time and time again, you know I was made to love him. So it looks like a lot of people disapproved of her relationship with Bobby Brown. I'm assuming she's singing about Bobby Brown. This also goes back to track number 6, In My Business, where people were getting up all in her business and telling her that he was maybe doing this and he was maybe doing that behind her back. But she is standing by her man. She is standing by her husband. It looks like I was made to love him. My baby needs me. That's why we've made it through the years. I was made to love him. So that is all 13 tracks of My Love Is Your Love, and I really enjoyed this album. It was a lot more R&B sounding than her other albums, which were more pop sounding in my opinion. And I loved the sound of this album, the production, and like I said already, I definitely preferred the first half to the second half of this album. I don't think the second half of this album is very memorable. So what did you guys think of the album? Where does this album rank on your Whitney Houston discography list? If you were to rank her albums, does it sit near the top, the middle? Maybe you hated this album. Maybe you think it's her worst album. Tell me why. What are your favorite songs on this album? And please tell me about the themes on this album. Dig a bit deeper and share with me what Whitney went through when she was in her marriage with Bobby Brown. What was that like? What were the scandals happening? I imagine Whitney Houston was all over the tabloids and she was appearing in all these media outlets. I imagine she was doing a lot of interviews. And what was that like? There was also the drug problem. She was doing drugs with her husband, it looks like, Bobby Brown. Like I said already in this video, it says the couple's drug abuse and domestic disputes made them tabloid fodder. So there was domestic abuse in the relationship and there was a drug abuse as well between the two. So how did that affect this album and her albums going forward and her public persona? So I think that's all I wanted to say on the album. In my next Whitney Houston video, we'll be moving on to her 2002 album, her 5th studio album called Just Whitney. And before Just Whitney, she did release 2 other albums, but they weren't studio albums. They were compilation and greatest hits album in 2002 and 2001 called... Oh no, sorry, 2001 and 2000 called Whitney the Greatest Hits in 2000 and Love Whitney in 2001, and then her 5th studio album, Just Whitney, in 2002. So thanks for watching, guys. You can find me on Instagram, you can find me on Twitter, you can message me, you can tell me other artists I should check out at Moment to Any Artists from Any Decade. You can find me on Apple Music, you can check out my playlist, and so on and so forth. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care.